Bonjour, mon nom est Francis. Hello, my name is Francis Huber, and today we will speak about the explanation of the temple that is a trap for Jews and Christians. First we will speak about the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is the first monument of Islam. It has dominated Jerusalem for a little over 1,300 years. According to some, the Dome of the Rock was built by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik in 691. But the exterior inscription of the dome gives another date of construction, as well as the name of another builder, Al-Mamun Abbasi, Caliph from the beginning of the 9th century. This would clearly mean that the Dome of the Rock is actually only around 1,000 years old. Please look at it in the Haram al-Sharif, sacred esplanade, an esplanade which measures 280 meters by 490. The mosque is built on the ruin of the Roman temple, one dedicated to Jupiter. Why did this dome was created? There are at least 4 reasons for this. According to Muslim historians, Al-Malik wanted to replace Mecca, then occupied by rebel forces of Ibn Zubayr, who has been proclaimed Caliph in 683 on the death of Yazid I. It was also a question for the Caliph of posing as an heir of the Roman Emperor. In the holy city of Christianity, in the city where Christ had preached and died, the Dome of the Rock affirmed the superiority of Islam. At last, the dome therefore presented itself as the showcase of the domination of Islam over the world. Legend has it that this shrine commemorates the Prophet Muhammad's ascent to heaven. The Prophet is said to have been transported from Mecca to Jerusalem and from there to ascend to heaven after seeing hell. Until the end of the 11th century, where the hoax was revealed, it was said that this rock bore the trace of the foot of Muhammad. What about Jerusalem? This is how Jerusalem asserted itself as the third holy city of Islam, after Mecca and Medina. At the time of Solomon the Magnificent, Jerusalem was destroyed, then reconstructed twice and captured more than 45 times. Finally, the exterior walls were rebuilt by Solomon the Magnificent in 1545. This means that the current walls are less than 480 years old. At that time, he also restored the walls of the mosque. 8 gates surround the city, one of which is called the Golden Gate. Having known the prophecy of Isaiah on the return of Christ, Solomon sealed it in 1561 to prevent Jesus from returning to Jerusalem. Given the historicity of the city of Jerusalem, we understand that the Jews and Christians have long thought the place of the ancient stone temple. When Jesus has prophesied, "He will not stay here stone on stone, and again I will build a new temple in the heart of humans." Babylonians had destroyed the first temple 400 years after its construction by Solomon. 70 years later, Cyrus has released the Hebrew people in order to rebuild a second temple according to the prophecy of Isaiah. 44:28. This was done under the direction of Nehemiah. At the time of Christ, Herod the Great undertook a massive reconstruction of this second temple. But Titus also destroyed this second temple in 70 AD. For more than 2,000 years, the Jews did not seek to rebuild a third temple because they were distributed in the diaspora and unable to return to Palestine. It was only after their return in 1948 that they could begin to think about it. As Robert Mandelbaum rightly states, they are convinced that it is only after the reconstruction of the third temple that the Messiah will come to bring them victory over their enemies. We therefore better understand their desire to rebuild a third temple, while keeping in mind that the second temple disappeared more than 2,000 years ago without leaving traces. According to what Jesus has prophesied, he will not stay here stone on stone. They are therefore preparing everything for this reconstruction at the very risk of the Third World War. Because the problem is the mosque, the Dome of the Rock on the Esplanade. Meanwhile, loyal Jews mourn against the Wailing Wall, assuming that it is the western foundation wall of the ancient temple. But Robert Mandelbaum recalls, however, that 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 20 to 21, and 2 Chronicle 3, 1 to 2, specified exactly the place of the old temple, and that this place has nothing to do with the current esplanade known as the temple. The hill of the city of David was the ancient Zion, Zebus. The city is located higher, and 200 meters further south of the current esplanade, and 700 meters from the Dome of the Rock. David had brought the Ark of the Covenant there, in Zion. He wanted to build a temple there, but this was refused, and it was his son Solomon who built it there. Cornuc affirmed that water was absolutely necessary for worship, washing animals, ablution of priests, etc. The Bible specifies that the temple was built into the city of David, and that the source of Gihon came out. The majority of the great archaeologists, including Cornuc, Mandelbaum, Dante Esposito, David Sailaff, are convinced that this was indeed the case. And all quote Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 15, who mentions the river. However, there is no river anywhere other than in the city of David, and none near the mosque. As the biblical story relates, it was Hezekiah who enlarged the tunnel at the source of Gihon, at the Siloé reservoir. David Sailaff also draws on the testimony of Aristotle, who states, "There is an inexhaustible reservoir of water which comes from an abundant source of water, which rises naturally from the middle of the temple." David Sailaff recalled that the biblical quotes from Psalms, Joel, Ezekiel, and dozens of others confirm this absolute point. And Mandelbaum quotes the biblical book of Revelation at chapter 22, who confirm what it was so. This inexhaustible source still existed during the reconstruction by Herod and still exist today. According to Exposito, archaeologists therefore are known precisely where Mount Zion was. In one of his works, by Flavius Josephus, explained that there are exactly 200 meters between the Antonia fortress and the temple. Some people thought he was exaggerating. The current measures prove that he was right. Exposito specifies not 210 meters or 180 meters, but very exactly what Flavius Josephus said. Mandelbaum explains, the current seat is by no means the seat of the old temple, but the platform of the old Antonia fortress, which has adjoined the temple and which included 6,000 soldiers plus 4,000 men and women for the various services, for a total of 10,000 soldiers. He reiterates, the wall of the current temple has absolutely nothing to do with the temple. These are the foundation of the Antonia fortress. Cornuc confirmed this point by saying that the underlying tunnels are even signed by the seal of Caesar Tiberius. Perhaps the fortress was like a real city, comprising the governor's palace, the troops' camps, the kitchens, the bakery, the butchers, the laundries, all that is necessary for an occupying army. Shaila and Exposito claim that the current platform measures exactly 36 acres, exactly the classic measures of Roman fortress, as in Germany, Africa, and other places, where we find the vestiges of the old Roman camps. For his part, Flavius Josephus gives the exact measurements of the temple, 600 square feet, which naturally has nothing to do with the proportion of the Antonia fortress. According to Cornuc, the model represented in Israel, the model temple fortress, are very beautiful, but only give a ridiculous idea of the reality. The proportions are completely reversed. The Roman fortress represented could contain at most 100 soldiers, while the temple can contain 10,000. In addition, Flavius Josephus, who lived in Jerusalem and who experienced all these events, including the destruction of the temple, relates very exactly where the fortress was and where the temple was. Shaila explains that the Antonia fortress remained after the destruction of Jerusalem and became the center of Aelia Capitolina. The Bible, which cannot lie, affirms it will not remain stone on stone, but there are heaps of stones, which proves that it is indeed the Antonia fortress, says Exposito. The text of Matthew 24, verse 2, where Jesus prophesies, "Verily I say to you, he will not remain stone on stone," was perfectly accomplished, since during the Battle of Masada, which took place in 73, the Roman general wrote, "And now, where is that great city Jerusalem, the metropolis of the Jewish nation, which was fortified by so many walls round about? It is now demolished to the very foundation, and has nothing left.
jusqu'à la plus
But
profonde des fondations.
the camp of those
Et ayant
Romans
été laissé,
that destroyed
sort
it.
le camp des Romains qu'il a
By
détruit.
this video, we have just brought certain proof that the place of the old temple is not the current site, which is nothing other than the vestiges of the old temple of Jupiter and the Roman fortress Antonia. Many Jews and Christians, blinded by the tactics of the devil, prepare for a universal war, for a false decoy which lead them to their loss. We also know that despite all the evidence, most will continue to cover their ears, to pursue the delirium of their souls. But we pray that authentic Christians will remember the words of Christ, for I will dwell in their hearts, and I will be their temple.
Et je serai